everyone. This is Chris Schuelke with the Otter County Historical Society, and we are headquartered in Fergus Falls, Minnesota. We are now about 6 weeks into the great quarantine of 2020 as we attempt to combat the COVID-19 pandemic, or at least to slow it down. And like so many other businesses and cultural institutions in the state of Minnesota, our museum is presently closed to the public until further notice. So that means our exhibit gallery and gift shop and research library are not available. But rather than just sit idly by, we are trying to continue to do work and to reach out to the public and fulfill our mission, which we're doing that through social media like we're doing today. So we've had some challenges with technology, but we're all learning, so be patient with us. But today is so special because we are talking with Kathy Evavold, the Otter County Historical Society Curator of Collections. Welcome, Kathy. Hello.
Hello.
So, thank you for joining us today on a cold, overcast day in Minnesota. A great day to actually be inside. So Kathy, as Curator of Collections, just to let people know, has worked tirelessly over the years. She's in charge of our E.T. Barnard Research Library, and she has worked to make it one of the best genealogy and local history research libraries in the state of Minnesota. And this has really been demonstrated over and over through the years by the number of researchers that access our facility via email or walk-in traffic. And, you know, what's a typical average year, Kathy, for researchers to the Historical Society?
Well, I think that we average about 1,000 people coming into the Historical Society library, and we're open 5 days a week, so you can kind of figure out that that ends up being quite a bit of traffic actually into the museum. And I just want to say that I changed my Skype background so that it looks like I'm sitting in our library, but I'm at home right now. But I put a picture up of our library. So this is what it would look like if we could be there.
Correct. We have volunteers in the background doing some work, and I think Vicki Anderson is in the background. So yes, this is our facility. Yes, excellent.
Yeah.
So Kathy, over the years, the Historical Society has put a lot of emphasis on doing genealogy and local history research, and you know, this goes back to when the museum really got started. And I think we're continuing that work. But why do we put so much emphasis on our research center?
Well, Chris, I think it's because we love research, and we love gathering and indexing materials that have to do with the people that lived in Otter. And I think that tradition goes back to the beginning, at least to the beginning of the building we're in now, to the early 70s, when people like Virginia Adams and Marguerite Andrews and Anne Hauge and maybe a little bit later, Ann Jordan, Pam Brunfelt, and they loved history and research, and they really felt like it was a necessary part of the Historical Society, and I think we all agree with them. And so we have just continued. We've continued the foundation that they put in place, and all of the staff use our resources. They use it when they develop programs, when Missy develops a program or writes an article. Chris, you use those resources when you develop a tour. We're maybe the greatest users. So on top of those 1,000 people that use our resources by coming into the library itself, the staff is constantly using the resources that we have.
That is correct. Yes. And because of that, we utilize it so much because we've developed so many resources. And part of this is the nature of doing genealogy or local history research has really changed over the years, especially with the advent of the internet and all these online and family history sites. People sometimes expect to get an answer just at their fingertip. Everything comes up. But that's not always the case. And the Historical Society has certainly had to adapt over the years on how we do business in our library. So how, Kathy, has it evolved over the years? How has our research center and the resources that we've developed evolved over the years?
Well, you're right. Things have really changed. And we have adapted and we continue to adapt. And we've used technology. When I first came to the Historical Society, we had one little desktop computer. That's how far back. And we all had to share it. And another example of that is our cemetery. They used to be individual documents. So you'd have to open one document at a time to look into each township. That was before we put into each cemetery. And that was before we put it all into a database that's now searchable. So people think that, really easy, and now they are really easy because we have great tools to help us do research. And it has gotten easier, but it still requires so much behind the scenes research. And that's just something we just continue to do. We do that on, a daily, weekly basis.
Right. And you and Vicki don't do this alone. You have kind of an army of volunteers hundreds, of all the volunteer hours that are contributed to the Historical Society, the vast majority comes into or from the research library. And that's because there are just so many, you have endless tasks for people to do. So, what are, give me a few examples of some of the tasks that researchers do, and then also explain a little bit about your virtual volunteer program.
Right. We are indexing obituaries, cemeteries, local history, and that stuff that's ongoing. There's no end to those kind of things, so we just continue to do those things.
And not just in Otter Tail's a big county.
Huh? I think our connection is a little bit not so great. Now I forgot the question.
Tell me a little bit about your virtual volunteer program.
Oh yeah, since 2007, we started a virtual volunteer online program. And so not only do we have on-site volunteers, but we have a number of volunteers that work from their homes. And we have had them from all over the United States, but even we've had a European volunteer. So it's been a pretty fun project and one I'm really proud of. But it does require a lot of work to be done prior as well. So it's a challenging program for us to run, but I'm very proud of it.
As you should be, Kathy. So, I guess the thing is that with all these indexes and all these databases that Kathy and her crew have put together, we have a lot of resources for people to access. So as people now, as we're in this, 6 weeks into the quarantine, people have a little more time on their hands, and maybe they didn't think about looking back into their family history or researching their home or some part of their community or township that they live in. And so I think this is a good time for people to start conducting a little local history or genealogical research. And Kathy, how can people start that process? What should they say? I want to research my family. How do I begin?
Well, I would encourage them to check out our website. Go to our website. I put it up here on my screen. It's otchs.org. And then there's also, you can kind of see a link to that multi-search index, which that multi-search index takes all of that work that virtual volunteers are doing, and it makes it available in an index format on our website. And and if they don't want to do that, they could just email me. That's a simple way to get started, because then I can send people links to those web pages or that index. So my email is kevavold@otchs.org. So it's simple. And
it's very simple.
It's simple, and we do it a lot. We work with a lot of people, so we're used to it. We have a system. It's going to be easy for you.
Right.
That's the thing. It's going to be easy for researchers.
Do not give us a call right now, because we're in and out of the museum. That's not a good way. Evavold@otchs.org, or just simply go to our website, because all our emails are up on the website, otchs.org. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, Kathy, is all this research that you and Vicki do. It takes a lot of resources to do this. It takes time. It takes money, and it's not. We can't do this just for free, out of the goodness of our hearts. We love doing it. We love helping people, but we got to make some income. We got to keep the doors open, the lights on, everyone employed. So there is a fee structure for that. And how do people find out about that, Kathy?
Well, again, that's pretty simple. Again, our website is a great way to find out more about that. We're all upfront about our fees, and we've had service fees now for decades. This isn't something new. And it's really, I think, very reasonable. I mean, I know how they always liken everything to a cup of coffee, but it's kind of like a cup of coffee at Starbucks. That's what it's going to cost you to get for example, an obituary from us. And you can also you can hire us by the hour as well. But all those fees are available on our website. And yeah, Chris, you know better than any of us how expensive it is to offer these kinds of services. The technology alone it comes with a cost. So
yeah, that's for sure. And you liken it to a cup of coffee. Well, I'll tell you, it's our cup of coffee is pretty darn good. So I would encourage people to do that. So, Kathy, are there any last words of wisdom you have before we end our conversation with Kathy today?
Well, I don't know words of wisdom, but I would say don't be afraid and just reach out, contact us. We love what we do, and I think you'll be happy and satisfied with the things that we can find out. If you have family from Ottertail County, and if they were here for quite some time, That's helpful. But I am confident we will be able to find something
Yes.
for
Thank
you.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, folks, we're wrapping up on our conversation with Kathy. You know, at some time we'll be open again, but we're just trying to be safe. You know, so please give us a call, or not a call, contact our email, website, and we can hook you up. Kathy, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right. So we'll see you all
Be
later.
safe, everyone.
Yes, with more information from the Otter County Historical Society. Bye.
Bye-bye.